welcome to Tell You Later, the show where we guarantee a laugh or your money back.
Thanks to all those who support us on Patreon. By the way, there's always room for more.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to their channel.
We haven't got a title song for this show, so we're singing this thing instead.
Okay.
It's really just a substitute. Nonetheless, the melody may stay in your head.
Oh, I hope so.
'Cause it's a tune.
It's a tune.
You'll love to croon.
You'll love to croon.
Ah, but there's one thing you should know. We have to confess we do not possess a title song for this show.
Ain't it peculiar?
Believe it or not, we haven't got a title song for this show.
Oops. All right, welcome to another episode of Tell You Later. I'm Katie Leigh. I have a special guest today, Mike Mulligan. You may remember him from the famous story, Mike Mulligan and the Steam Shovel.
Marianne.
Right?
I didn't marry Marianne, though.
You didn't?
Don Wells, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody who's been supporting our show. It's been an interesting season. Trying to get back in the swing of things, and I know everybody wants to meet my friends, and I have some special friends that aren't necessarily famous, but are very, very interesting. So, Mike,
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
I'm a very interesting person.
You are amazing. You are also. We used to say Will's like a Renaissance man, and you are as well.
Yeah,
singer. Dancer. Yep. Okay, let me tell you how I met Mike. We were at Brett's house, right?
We were.
Okay, Ewan.
Yeah.
Okay, Brett Ewan does the voice of Mickey Mouse. He has amazing Christmas parties, and I am so thankful.
The most incredible Christmas parties.
Most incredible Christmas parties.
Like, if you want to know, you should follow Bungalow Modern on Instagram.
Bungalow Modern,
it's incredible.
That's his business.
Holy smokes, those guys know how to decorate.
Yes,
yeah,
and just amazing things. So I've been fortunate enough to be a guest at his party. So pre-COVID, there was a party.
Yeah.
And we were there, and we got introduced.
Yeah.
And you were...
Well, I knew you were coming.
Oh.
I knew. So I saw the guest list, and I texted Brett.
There was a guest list?
Well, I knew about the guest list.
I didn't.
You know. Well, I think it was just on the Facebook group. It was...
Oh, right. Okay.
So I was like, oh, who else is coming? And Katie Leigh. I know that name, Katie Leigh. That's the voice of my childhood. So I ended up going and texting Brett, and I was like, hey, is Katie coming? He goes, yeah, I think so. She said she was going to go. I was like, oh, okay, great. So I was looking forward to it. And so my wife and I were like walking around, and then I don't even know if, did Brett actually introduce us? Or did you and I just start talking? Or you and Kristen started talking?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I talk to everybody. So
I know.
I don't know.
I do too.
I don't know.
We were probably talking to everybody separately.
Marshmallow and a drink, and I'll talk to anybody.
With hot chocolate.
Yes.
Yes. Not just a cup of marshmallow.
By the way, Brett's mom makes homemade marshmallows every year. And
you guys, you're going to have to get invited to this party because those marshmallows.
And we don't want you to feel bad if you weren't invited. All you have to do is make your own homemade marshmallows. It's basically the same.
Oh, it's amazing. And
except Mickey Mouse might not be there.
Mickey Mouse may not be there. Or you could probably just, play Mickey Mouse cartoons.
So, okay. So, yes, we bumped into each other. I said hi. We were talking, and you told me that you were a fan. And so we gave a big hug, and now we're BFFs.
And now we're BFFs.
Now we're BFFs.
BFFs forever.
And one of the things I found out about you is not only are you an actor and you're doing voiceover, and so is your wife, but you make costumes.
I do.
And you work for a company that creates like theme park stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Storyland Studios. It's really awesome.
Okay. There's a company that does this.
And I get to work there.
Because he can build anything, sew anything, and like, are you allowed to talk about any of the things you've He's a big Disneyland
Kind of.
fan. Did
Kind
you
of.
meet Brett because of making these things, or did you meet
no.
Brett through Bill Farmer for your? I don't know. How did you meet-
I met Brett through. So I used to be at Disney working on various voiceover projects, etc. And so
Why were you working? How were you working on voiceover projects at Disney?
I was considered a sound-alike artist. So it's not the official voice. It is just a sound-alike. And so then my brother...
This is news to our audience that
Oh
there's
my
such
goodness,
a
you guys.
job like that.
Oh, yeah. So
How
if
did you
you're...
get a job as a sound-alike artist?
You know what?
Let's back this up.
Oh, gosh,
Let's
okay.
unravel this a little bit.
Okay, so as a sound-alike artist, there's something as like the official voice, right? But
Like
let's
Bill
say,
Farmer's the official voice of Goofy.
Oh my goodness, yeah,
Right? And I'm the official voice of nobody right now. But if I were,
well, Connie,
true. But that's not Disney.
you're just but you're just you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But pretty soon I'm going to be the official voice of something that I can't tell you about. I'll have to tell you later.
What's it gonna be?
Tell you later.
What's it gonna be? Well, let's say so. Crush. So Andrew Stanton for the voice of Crush, and I'm not gonna say anything other than that. But if you go to Turtle Talk with Crush,
Yes.
that is
Which is our favorite, the Crew of
it's a
One, and my
fantastic
favorite attraction at Disneyland is Turtle Talk.
oh, it's so much fun.
Cha, dude.
Doodly chaw. But there
Which we decided when Townsend was on this show was kind of a ripoff of Michelangelo.
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? Do you
Well,
agree?
that's so one of the
Put
funny
it in
jokes.
the comments if you think that's true.
One of the funny jokes that we had
Mm-hmm.
was that if you guys ever get a chance to go to Turtle Talk with Crush,
And you
ask
must.
Crush what the name of his kids are. And so you're gonna find a very fun. I won't go into it here, but you're gonna get a very fun answer.
Oh boy, what's
yeah.
the name of Crush's kids? Okay.
Yeah, what's the name
Orange
of
Crush.
Crush's Yeah, actually, that would be. You know what? I don't know if I've heard that one.
Well, you
that
heard
would be
it here
really
first.
funny. You heard it here first.
Write that down.
Oh my gosh!
You need a
yeah,
pad
here,
of paper,
here,
right?
I got it.
Okay,
I got it.
very
we
good.
can. This is like we can draw on the table.
Actually
here,
not
right?
because it's not a.
no.
I think it's a.
I'll get you a
we'll
new
get.
tablecloth.
We need a paper table like they have in Italian restaurants, so you can
Just
draw
give me
when you're
crayons and I'm
waiting.
happy.
Isn't that-
Whenever we go out to dinner with my kids, they're like, "Oh, like 2 kids menus,"
And he has
I'm
the
like,
cutest kid. Oh, Crew of One orders a kids menu too.
"Oh
by the
yeah,
way. Yes.
yeah, it's amazing." And then I get crayons with it. and I
Okay,
like sit and
so
draw.
how did you get? Did you
I
have to
auditioned.
audition?
Yeah, so I was. I
There
looked
was
at.
like an ad. Were you in Florida?
No,
Or-
I was here. I was here, and I was in college. I went to a place called Vanguard University of Southern California. I was a theater major, and I was studying performing and directing and technical theater, so scenic design, everything else. And a buddy of mine, he said, "Hey, did you see Backstage yet?" And Backstage is a weekly publication within the industry to say, "Hey, there
for
are auditions."
posting jobs.
Yeah, it was great. And so
auditions.
there was this like whole like half page or page audition announcement saying like, "Hey, Turtle Talk with Crush." Like, there's
Oh, so that's how it started.
that's how it started. It was just an open call, and I had.
And you said, "I think I can crush this audition." Right?
No, I didn't. I had zero knowledge of the character, which is terrible to say. You should never do that. You should always as much research as you can.
Unless you're him and. it
Well, you're
works out.
crazy. Which I have another audition story about.
Okay.
About jumping into auditions cold, just completely cold. It was just
Okay.
silly. However, I went in and they had us watch a little bit of the film first. And so I'm like, oh, okay, totally try. And then you had to go in, and then they just did some interview questions, just some spontaneous.
To see if you could improvise, sort
Yeah.
of like me pulling you in when you brought
Just now.
without knowing you would be on the show.
Exactly.
Same thing.
Exactly. I just came to drop off a vest.
Hey,
and-
Mike, we got a mic set up here,
Yeah.
and you're a mic, so come on in.
Yeah. You don't want a mic drop though, because then it's.
Yeah.
I'm 6'4", so that's a long way down.
And
for
don't
me.
feel like you have to
You want me to
slouch
sit up?
just
Should
for
I?
me, because
Okay,
I mean, it's fabulous
I
that
like this.
you can see.
I'm glad I blew my nose earlier, so
over
you're
my
not
head. I
looking
don't
up.
mind licking up people's noses if they're clean.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true.
if they're not in.
Yeah, I did just. Never mind.
Okay.
Anyway, so I ended up also while I was in that room for Crush. They had I'll just say they, meaning the casting group and producers and voiceover directors and just everybody.
The team.
The entire creative team, WDI, everybody else, and
Which
they're all sitting
stands
there.
for?
Walt Disney Imagineering originally started as WED. Yeah.
Which was what?
Walter Elias Disney.
That's what I was
Yeah,
trying to
his
remember the other
initials.
day because I was working for WDI.
Yeah, so that's what I got to do. It was very fun. And then they said, "Hey, can you also do Stitch from Lilo and Stitch?" And I'm like,
That's very peculiar.
I don't know. And they're like, "Well, here, go and watch this clip." And so I came back in like 2 minutes,
That's
and they were
hard.
like,
Do your
"Oh, it's great."
Stitch.
Hello, family, and family. I had a lot of free time as a child. Like that's the typical answer, right? Like you're like, "Oh yeah, I was a lonely child."
Let's get a Stitch.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
so I bet there's more.
There was more. Yeah, there's so much more. And so then I ended up doing some other performing things and leaving Disney at the time. And then I got a call from WDI saying like, "Hey, we're working
Did you
on a couple
ever do
other
their
projects."
live shows? Like in the what's it? Not the El Capitan, but the theater at Disney
The Fantasyland
World.
Theater.
No, where they do Aladdin and all the...
The Hyperion,
The Hyperion.
at DCA. No, I never did. I have tons of friends who did it, but I was... What did we do? I ended up... My wife and I, we ended up moving to New York City and doing theater out in New York. So that's what we got to do in national tours and commercials and
That's
stuff.
pretty awesome.
So,
Okay,
do
so
you want
what
to hear...
other voices? Oh,
No, that's pretty much it. But do you want to hear a fun crash and
Okay.
audition story?
Tell me that, and
much
then I
time do
have
you
a
have?
question to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, a very good question.
A good question?
Good question.
Okay. Well, do you want to ask the good question and then?
No,
I'll
tell us
okay.
about your audition.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, my wife had gone in for an audition for this girl, and she's talking to like this British guy, and it's supposed to be this funny commercial, and they kind of wanted like a Russell Brand character. And
He's tall.
he is tall. Yeah. He's very tall. He's like my height, or I'm his height. Whoever came first. So what happened is she's going to this audition. She goes to the callback and she's like, "Yeah, they really need British guys." And I'm like,
I'm British.
yeah. Wait, you are?
No.
Yeah. So what happened is I end up going and I'm like, well, like, what do they want? She's like, well, they want somebody funny, but everybody who's British in New York is
Doesn't
like,
know how to be funny.
no, apparently, at
Very
least at this
serious.
audition. I'm not saying that British people
We're
are not
very
funny, because
serious.
that's totally not what I'm saying.
Bill Cosby used to do an imitation
Did
of
he?
a Brit. Yes, he'd say, "They're so very proper. If they were having a heart attack at a dinner." I remember this as a kid listening to somebody say, "I believe my life is leaving me at the moment."
No, that was spot on. I'm about to bring you back to life. Yeah. So what happened was, I'm like, oh, I can look like a British idiot. This is great. At least I thought I did, because, confidence is key right now. So I go downtown, it's pouring rain, and I'm in the elevator, right? And I'm going up to this audition, and there's that little moment where your brain kind of breaks, and you're just like, I'm gonna go full for this, right? I'm just gonna go, whole hog on it. So the door's
What do you
open.
have to lose?
What do you
right?
have to lose?
What do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? So you may as well go for it. So I end up
Rule
going-
number 1.
Oh yeah. How many rules are there? Because if there's number 1, that means there must be a number 2. So I end up the doors open, and I walk out, and I'm just kind of like, I knew exactly where the audition was because it was right to the door to my right. So I walk out, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, all right. And the girl at the front, the monitor, she had a clipboard, and she goes, hi, are you here for the audition? And I'm like, no, sorry, I'm looking for the loo. I'm a bit wet. I'm supposed to be signing up for classes. And she goes, oh my gosh, please, you go to the bathroom and then come back. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, what's it for? And she goes, oh, it's an audition for this. Like, we think you'd be great. And I had already kind of dressed in tight black pants, leather jacket, like wife beater shirt, and I'm just like, my hair's all messy because it's raining, and I had like scruff, and I was just like, yeah, all right, great, thank you.
I'm here for the Spinal Tap audition.
Yeah, right, yeah,
okay,
Stonehenge. 16 inches tall. So I end up going, and I run to the bathroom really quick, and I'm like drying my hair off, and I like look at myself devilishly in the mirror, and I'm like, you sly dog. I totally did it. And I'm like, oh no, now I have to go and actually like go back to that audition. So I walk back into the audition.
That was audition enough.
That was audition enough.
You could have left right there and felt like you succeeded. Right?
Oh yeah, it would have been. So I'm in it for the long game though. So I walk back in and I'm like, oh yeah, right. Hello, Michael, here's my information. And so I go into the audition room and they've got, it's like a script on this giant, it's like a kid's drawing pad, right? It's huge. So that's called your copy when you walk in. So you go in and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, there's a copy. And this poor girl that I had to audition with, Thea McCarthy, I think it was her name. And she ends up, she was just thrown for a loop because I didn't say a single one of my lines that I should have said because it was all supposed to be improv. And so like her lines were there and she was saying her lines and I was like saying kind of what my lines were supposed to be, but then also just adding so much more about, I started talking about parrots and just everything, just random stuff. And then she just kind of was like, which was actually perfect for her character because she's supposed to be this like mom and this like cow comes to her door. This like British cow comes to her door and I was that British cow. And so then all of a sudden like we both got a call back. So I get the call back the next day, but I'm already, because as an actor you have to do so many different things, right? To make money. And one of the things I was doing was catering at the time. And I was
cleaning pools,
all of this stuff.
Whatever.
And so I was doing this thing for Valentino modeling. And so I was this like model caterer guy and I'm like, yeah, hi, can I get you anything? Like dressed as like this model. And I'm like, oh, that was a terrible, who put me in that role? Anyway, so I get a call though, and they're like, hey, you have a call back today and it's in like 3 hours. Can you make it? And so I go to the modeling. I'm like, guys, I have a call back. Can I just, I'll go and I'll do that and I'll come back and I'll stay later. And they were so amazing. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, go do that. That's amazing. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you. Well, because I was just wearing my catering stuff, thankfully I had nice black pants on, but I had like a button-up shirt and I had my jacket that I was wearing, and I'm like, oh no, like I have to go. Oh, and I had a tie. I had a black tie. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up going and saying all right, great. I can't wear this to an audition to look like this rock star. Right? I can't dress up looking nice like a rock star.
Unless you slashed it or
Yes, but then I had to go back to work after. That's not a solution.
What did you do?
You know what I did?
What?
I went.
Without a shirt.
No, well, close. I went and I just grabbed, there was like a place around the corner and it was all the way downtown. And so I just went and I got a t-shirt and I just cut the neck out of this t-shirt. Okay. And then I just put the tie back on.
Little Johnny Rotten.
It was terrible. It's a terrible idea. And I had my jacket and I rolled my sleeves up, little Miami Vice-ish.
It's an audition anyway.
It was an audition. I didn't care.
Well, they're going to give you clothes, aren't they?
No.
I mean, if you get the job,
if you get the job, well, hopefully they give you a costume.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to see what I come up with. So what happened is I go and it's supposed to be like 5 minutes. I'm in the room for like 40 minutes, but I don't follow a single thing that they tell me to do. Like I was super nice and they were like laughing, but they were like, yeah, like do it this way. And I'm like, all right. And I just did my own interpretation. And they were like, that was great.
So bold of you.
I was an idiot. Don't ever do that.
Why?
So then, well, it gets better.
Like
I'm getting in really deep now. So then what happens, Katie, is that about 2 days later, I get this phone call.
I go, we found out you were born in California.
They're like, hi, this is so-and-so casting agency. Well, and I'm like, well, at first it was a phone number, and they're like, hello, is this Michael? I'm like, hi, yeah, it's Mike. And they're like, this is so-and-so casting agency. I'm like, oh yeah, hello, how are you? So that was terribly offensive to like say it like that, by the way. That was a terrible accent. But I ended up going and booking the job, and Thank you. And then I got to do like a couple more slots with them, which
That's
is really
amazing.
cool. And I lied to them the entire time, telling them I was actually British. Like, they had like other British people on the team. Like, I get there like day of the film.
And did the other people give you the evil eye?
No, they all believed me.
Well, then you must be really good.
So here was another story of that. Here was like another layer. Like, this is terribly like. So I'm just coming clean. This is my confession video.
Okay, so what is that famous quote? Oh, the
glitters is gold.
No, about lying.
I don't know.
I'll think of it.
There's a great line, though, in Rocketeer, Timothy Dalton's character, Neville Sinclair. He goes, "It wasn't lies, Jenny. It was acting."
Ah.
So that's how I view it.
It wasn't lies. It was acting.
I was like
and
a
you're right.
spy.
And that's so true. I mean, keep going.
Well, so 6 a.m. is our call time at the van down in Brooklyn. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I get downtown, and everybody's already in the van. And I'm like, oh, yeah, good morning, all. And this guy in the front seat goes, "Mate, where you from?" And I'm like, "Essex." He goes, "Oh, I'm from Essex." And I'm like, oh, yeah, right.
Not that Essex.
Yeah. Oh, the other Essex. Yeah. So I get in the back and I immediately, furiously, thank God for smartphones at this time, because it was like,
you could Google it.
it was like this big though, right? Like I'm like, oh, how do I use these things? So I end up and I just like lay down in the back and I start Googling, and I started with a map of Essex. So I'm like, where in Essex? It's like, you know when you've seen those in the cartoons and people spin the globe and then they like close their eyes and they point their finger and then they end up in the middle of the ocean and they're like, ha, and then you zoom in and they ended up on that tiny little island in the middle of the ocean, right? That's exactly what I did with Essex. So I was like, great. There's nobody here. This tiny little town of like 200 people. It's called Southend-on-Sea, Southchurch, in an area called Southend-on-Sea. And I was like, literally, and I looked up like demographics, and I went on Wikipedia and I found like, oh, okay, like there's nobody that lives here. It's got like an all-girls school there.
I think I know where this is
It's called the Sutton Arms, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm sure you do. So then I go, and at lunchtime, I'm supposed to be the first person shooting, and it's raining. So I just get kept. And they shoot everybody interior, and then they shoot the next guy interior, and the next person, and then I'm end of the day. So I've been keeping up the charade of being British to my makeup lady, who is also from Essex, and then the DP of photography, or director of photography.
And they weren't just covering for you; they really fell for it.
Oh no, they totally fell for it, and they were
What
like,
a good actor you.
They were like, oh my gosh, like you must be brand new and blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh
Why
yeah,
haven't
my
we
mom and
met
dad.
you before?
Yeah, it was great, and so it turns out that my DP is like, he's like, oh yeah, mate, where you from? And I'm like, oh yeah,
DP, director of photography.
and
Not an official sponsor of Tell You Later yet.
Not yet, but get a position sponsor. That's brilliant. That's like, yes, I am. You could call me producer. I'm sponsored. This is sponsored by producer.
Okay.
That's wow. So what happened?
Seemed like the right thing.
I derail so quickly.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Well, me too. Well, you're in the right show.
I'm in the right show.
You totally
I'm
are.
in the right seat.
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh my gosh, Southend-on-Sea. I totally know that place. Do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, no, I don't know him. But we used to go to the old girls' school and go to the Sutton Arms. And the guy is like, oh, I love the Sutton Arms, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Like, I've never been to this place at all. And I'm like, yeah, I was born on Arlington Way. And
you are a real liar.
I was a terrible liar. I was
a good liar.
I was very thorough. So, yeah. But not like the writer
amazing.
Thorough. The actual different.
Different thorough.
Yeah, different thorough.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Wow. Well, you throw me through for a loop there with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do it on my hand-painted Huts glass.
So you do know Adventures in Odyssey.
I do.
Lots of other things.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, so when I met you at the party, you told me that you could do costumes, and I think that's when I introduced you to the Crew of One, who is a singer in a Kiss tribute band.
I know, and I've watched it, and it's amazing.
And he needed some help with his costume.
Yeah.
So we kind of connected on that level.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm your director.
You are my director.
A Few Good Miles. I forgot about that. So I'm actually directing an animated series, at least the pilot.
Yeah.
And I asked you to audition.
It'll go further.
Probably.
It'll
Shout
definitely
out
go
to
further.
G. Michael Nicolosi, our creator. A Few Good Miles. I think there's a Facebook page. Actually,
there
they
is.
just showed Debbie Bonson, who introduced me to G. Michael.
Yeah. She's doing all
She
of
shows how it's animated by
incredible.
hand, like just original, how animation was before computers.
Yeah. It blew my
I
mind.
don't understand what she's saying at all.
It's going to be brilliant. It's all going to be hand done.
It takes a
Hand-drawn
long,
animation.
long time. And her whole family does. Yeah. There's so many stories we could tell you. I'll have to tell you later about
How
Debbie.
much more time do we have?
I don't know. We have forever until Chris shows up. We're waiting for Chris. She's coming.
Hi, this is Chris. That Chris?
Yeah. She's coming.
You're in for a treat.
But that's okay. We're going to... Well, I can't tell you because I don't know what order this is going to go in.
That's
so let me
true.
just stick to the topic
Forget
here.
I just said that.
So Debbie Bonson is an animator, and she's worked all over. She could have been to that Essex place even because she animated all over the world. But I met her and her whole family. They're homeschooled, and they all the kids, everybody helps do the animation. They live in New Mexico. Yeah, it's amazing. But she was also an Odyssey fan, and she also worked on Rugrats, I think, and as told by Ginger, she worked on a lot of shows that I actually voiced. So we have all these connections.
Yeah.
So you auditioned, you got the role.
I got the role
of the lead,
yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
So that's pretty awesome.
I had to learn how to read just to do that audition.
And you did if you were faking it, you did a great job.
Well, I was lying.
Yeah. Yes.
It wasn't even acting.
I was just lying. Yeah. So no, you and your wife auditioned. So I'm sure he loved everybody. But
so much fun.
I actually get to direct occasionally.
She's my boss.
That was fun. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so yes. Now my train of thought was derailed. Okay, so
Choo-choo. Here comes the caboose.
I hope so. Somebody push me. Okay, so you do costumes. We went to your house. We met your family.
Yeah.
We did a myriad of other things.
Oh, so many.
But when you told me about Storyland, it got me thinking.
Okay.
Because I've been talking. I was on Adventures in Odyssey. To enjoy the full episode, please support us at patreon.com/tellyolater. Thanks a lot. Oh, she's
close.
not ready.
So close.
Okay.
That's like a bonus episode.
So just yell, hey, what are you guys talking about?
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
Tell you later.
Tell You Later is a Patreon-driven entertainment show. So what are you waiting for? Come on over. Join us at patreon.com/Tell You Later.
If you like to smell the cactus bloom, welcome to Cactus County. And loads of elbow room, welcome to Cactus County. If you like your mornings fresh and clear, welcome to Cactus County. And a pleasing breeze throughout the year, welcome to Cactus County. Now if you're tired of wandering o'er land or sea or foam, there ain't no point in pondering, just make yourself at home. If you like a jillion stars at night.
Well, that was a lot of hot air.
I'll say.
Want to see it again?
Absolutely.
All right.
I love hot air.
Woo-hoo!